we are just going to take care of some technical difficulties.
All right. Well, tell the chat who's calling in, I guess.
Right, okay. So, calling in right now is Mike Mearls and his D&D group. Mike, if you were interested in knowing, is I believe the director of D&D. He is as far as I'm aware one of the highest up on the totem pole with regard to D&D design. After rising up through the ranks of D20 writers through 3rd edition, he ended up as top dog during 4th and has been at the head of D&D Next as well now. And
you were actually able to see him in action at the gaming table a couple of weeks ago and play some D&D with him, and he was a super great guy.
Also joining us, as far as I'm aware, is Mike's D&D group. And we should be good to go.
Can you hear us?
Hello, Mike. We still...
Are you guys talking?
We cannot hear you. I don't know if you can hear us.
They can hear us, but...
Should we try and call them back?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to try the... Oh, hello?
Hello?
Yeah.
Technology!
Technology!
Amazing. We have many computers here and many tablets and many other things all linked together to bring us this feed. So thank you for hanging in there with us.
Hey.
We understand you guys are calling from the gaming table.
Yeah, we're actually we're playing in Rodney Thompson's D&D game.
Hi, Rodney.
Hey, guys.
So
Hey, Graham.
Rodney is here also with Peter Lee, the co-designers of Lords of Waterdeep. Hello. And we've got Chris Dupuis, who works on D&D and also on Kaijudo. We have Chris Lindsay. I don't know if you can see him, he might be off camera. He works on the D&D brand team. And then Chris Tulloch is, I'm pretty sure he's off camera getting his stick of the air.
There I am.
Organized play guy, the man in charge of organized play for D&D. And then we have Dan Helmick, who is off camera and reading what looks like a competitor's role-playing product. Which sums up Dan and his relation to the group perfectly.
Fantastic. Well, thank you guys for calling in. Mike, I don't know if you heard my little intro of who you were. I hope I did you justice. If you want to make any corrections there, I wasn't sure of your exact title.
Oh, it's senior manager.
Senior
so
manager.
Basically, I run the R&D team, and so we have the R&D team. Chris Lindsay's here from the brand team. They handle more of the business and marketing end of things. And then we have our organized play team. And then there's a sales team, but we don't have anyone from sales in our group. We're not cool enough yet to have the sales teams.
So we were just aghast that all of you guys just get to hang out and play D&D together. Because, I mean, you work together and you work on D&D, so it makes sense. But we would be, envious of the chance to play with any of you, and you all get to play with all of you.
I have to look at this guy for 12 hours in a row, so...
Actually true.
Literally, that is his job. He spends 8 hours a day staring at Rodney to make sure he doesn't get out of control.
Yes, that is what I do.
Fair enough. So yeah, are you guys aware of exactly what we're doing down here in the magical world of Desert Bus?
I believe, is anyone here not familiar with Desert Bus?
Oh, I am.
Okay, cool. And we know, of course, some of us were actually down there with you for the Extra Life drive that you did a little while ago, which is awesome. It's awesome that we can all be involved in charity things together, which is super amazing. So let's go to. We've got some questions from our blog, and there's probably going to be more coming in the chat. So Tally and Graham, if you want to watch out for those and talk about that.
For sure.
Our blog post didn't specifically say who would be at your game with you, so it's possible we'll have some Lords of Waterdeep questions and whatnot pop up as well. So.
Do you have the blog post there?
Yeah, I got it right
okay.
here. So. Let's just start with sort of an easy softball question for all of you. What is your craziest, most overly detailed? I don't think those necessarily go hand in hand. Character that you have created and can remember.
Crazily over detail?
I think I feel like this person says craziest and over detailed as if they go hand in hand. I don't necessarily think that's always true. Maybe let's just go with craziest.
Oh, that's easy. That's the character I'm playing right now in Rodney's game. So just tonight, my character is very much advocating for us to go to this forest of the elves, and the elves tried to kill us. So I blamed everyone else because as I explained, I hate elves and I would never advocate for going to the forest of the elves. I accused our ranger of being a traitor, but just through bad luck, it turns out that everything he's done this campaign, when looked at a certain way, means he is a traitor. And I carry around 5 or 6 holy symbols to determine like what god I'm pretending to worship that day, depending on who we're trying to trick.
So do you have like a cart of robes and holy symbols and things like that that you can refer to when necessary?
Pretty much, yeah. That's my character in a nutshell. He's chaotic neutral. I got the High Priestess of Weejas. We're playing a Greyhawk campaign. Kicked out in the last city we're in. And what else? I mean, Rodney, what have I done to completely mess up your?
Well, I wouldn't say you've really messed up my campaign. No. Not in so many words, boss. But, no, I think so.
Oh, you wore the black crown of anger.
Well, yeah,
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
So we're trying to destroy an evil
yeah, that was
artifact,
pretty sweet.
And I'm the character who grabbed it and used it. In my defense, I did kill a demon with it. I didn't put it back when the paladin asked me to. I didn't just keep using it.
Yeah.
But I do really want that artifact. It's pretty clear that if everyone in the party, I want I'm like the guy, like Boromir. I'm the guy who wants the One Ring. Except imagine if Boromir at the start was like, "Hey guys, I'm gonna join this fellowship and it's cool, but just so you guys know, I'm probably gonna try to take the ring.
I'm gonna try to betray
cool.
you.
It's cool, right? Like I kind of want to use the ring, and that's basically my character. So
Nice.
the whole campaign is around this supremely evil artifact that, the entire campaign is built up around it. And Mike's character is the one that sort of cavalierly is like, I think I'm just going to use this thing because why not?
Many members of Loading Ready Run and associates are actually playing in a Temple of Elemental Evil campaign right now.
Yep.
In which there is also a supremely powerful evil artifact that has been fancied by one of the players. So we are in a semi-similar situation. Mike, you've written, this is a question from our blog, you've written about having simpler options and simplifying spellcasters, says Castlewise, but my new players find it hard to deal with long spell lists. Do you have anything, or do you have any advice for someone trying to pick up a caster without needing to look at all the spell options necessary, or tips for figuring out how to sort of slim it down to the essentials?
yeah, I think a good way to start, especially if you're the DM with a new player, would be to start a player with spells like just like Magic Missile, Sleep, Mage Armor, and just as a DM, that's something where since spell acquisition can come through finding scrolls and stuff, you can kind of, instead of having the player go to the list, you can just start the player off with that starter list of the classics, and then add spells as the campaign goes on, almost like treasure. And that might be a good way to to get control over that. We also know when we're designing the game, a lot of it's going to be whatever we have for new players, we'll probably keep to say 4 or 5 spells per level to start with, so people can kind of see, and maybe at higher levels going with fewer spells. So it is kind of an issue. That's where a lot of the complexity for spellcasters comes in. And that's the kind of thing where I think it helps to have an experienced player or the DM winnow that list down. As a suggestion, I'd start with basically give a player one spell that does damage, like Magic Missile, a spell like Sleep that's kind of non-damaging but still useful in combat, a protection spell, and then a fun spell like Disguise Self that kind of encourages creativity. Because I think that gets across the kind of idea of you've got a selection of spells, to cover your bases, so it's enough that you've got the stuff you need, if you just want to blast monsters and stuff, but you've got a couple options that can be kind of tricky. I think that's the balance that's fun about playing a caster in D&D, is you're making that kind of choice. So on a slider, do I blow stuff up, or am I kind of tricky, or am I somewhere in the middle?
And I mean, you've written in blog posts and whatnot in the past about how sort of shifting the balance in Next to make things like Fireball and Magic Missile and whatnot obviously good positive options for people, things that they will want to take and whatnot to incentivize towards them. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys? Have we seen any questions about Lords of Waterdeep so that we can?
Not so far, but I have been focusing a little more.
I have a question on Lords of Waterdeep.
Yeah.
So because I love Lords of Waterdeep and also its creators, and I am not biased in any way.
The check's in the mail.
Thank you. So I love the expansion, and I'm just curious where that comes from, because I'm not totally into D&D. I don't know that world, but it's something that Lords of Waterdeep is something I can really enjoy and get into. And also, is there any other expansions you can tell us about? Because I don't actually know. So, inspiration for this recent expansion of Lords of Waterdeep, and anything to look forward to moving forward.
Well, so the expansion is Scoundrels of Skullport, and that is based on sort of Waterdeep lore. There's this whole other shadow city deep underneath Waterdeep. Basically, you go down through the Dungeon of Undermountain, and down at the bottom is Skullport, which is basically like, it's Mos Eisley, but fantasy, right? Like it's a wretched hive of scum and villainy. And I know that everyone's shocked that I made a Star Wars reference. But so basically, when we were designing the base game, Peter and I would constantly be like, "Oh, we got this really great idea for blah blah blah. All right, well, we'll save that for Skullport, right?" And we had no idea, like we didn't even think that the game was going to get made, right? So we have, from the very beginning, kept an eye on Skullport just because it's kind of this fun anti-city in a lot of ways, and so there's a bunch of lore on Skullport in second edition and third edition stuff as well that we were able to draw upon for the expansion. As for future expansions, we don't really have anything that we can talk about right now, but there is actually something pretty exciting happening day after tomorrow, which is Lords of Waterdeep finally will be out on iPad and iPhone and iPod Touch and stuff like that.
Oh, snap.
Oh my god, I'm really excited!
Consider it purchased.
I actually saw you playing it when we were down there the other week and was like, I don't know if I can talk about this or tweet about it, but it looked really cool.
I had the beta on my iPad and would occasionally check it because somebody else here at the table was also sending me game requests as well. So yeah, Thursday, Lords of Waterdeep iOS.
Yay!
The chat loves your DM screen. Is it even a screen at this point?
It's a castle?
It's a castle. Yeah, it's
that was the Gale Force.
Yeah,
I went for
the Gale Force 9.
the retailers got that one.
This is the retail one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the retailers. Yeah.
Oh no, this is the one that was available.
Oh, they sell that one. Okay.
Anyways, my super awesome fiance got me this screen.
Aww. Thanks, Tammy.
It looks amazing.
Where do you get it? I'm still confused. Did we agree upon the location to which one may get that?
It's from Gale Force 9, and I think it's GF, then the number 9.com.
Okay.
They sell a bunch of D&D accessories.
Mostly on their website.
So there's a question here. What is your pitch to people, players of predominantly previous versions of D&D, whether that was second edition or third edition or fourth edition? What is your pitch as to what you're trying to do with D&D next? What makes it interesting, and in what ways do you think it sort of reflects what you've learned from those editions?
Yeah, I think that's the key. Is what we've done is we went back and played every edition, starting with the OD&D from 1974, the original D&D, up through 4th edition. And what we're doing with next, our goal is to say take the best parts of all those editions and combine them into one game, kind of like a gaming Voltron, where you get like you get like the ease of like, when you think back when every edition came out, there were the things people talked about. It's like, oh, this is the best thing about this is the great new thing about the edition. Like with 3rd edition, you had one mechanic you had to learn. Just roll a d20, add some modifiers, and get the biggest number that you can. That's how you succeed. So, unifying the mechanic. With 4th edition, we had very good balance between the classes. Like wizards and fighters, at high levels, you didn't have that big divergence. In 2nd edition, you had this emphasis on worlds, and the Dungeon Master's Guide was like this big menu of like if you want to use firearms and all these different mechanics to build your own classes. It was really to kind of open up the hood to let you play around with it. With AD&D, I mean, when it came out, the big thing was you could choose race and class, and you had this idea of the world. The game wasn't just a game; it was a world. This entire setting you could build and explore. And then you go back to basic D&D. It was very simple and easy to get into. So you have all these things we've added, but in basic D&D, before you had that stuff, the game was very easy to get into. I mean, it was very much easy for beginners, like the question earlier, to just pick up and start playing. And then obviously in OD&D, you have the idea of just what a role-playing game is. D&D being the first published role-playing game. So what we're doing through kind of a combination of the game design and kind of how we're thinking about the products, I mean, we were really at a place yet to talk about that, but it's something we thought of for new players. If you buy whatever the basic set might be, what is that experience like? So you can buy the basic game, and you don't have to buy anything else to then go and play, and maybe in your friend's high-level D&D campaign. Like, you could just take that character you don't have to learn a new set of rules. Kind of like we've seen in the past with basic sets, where you get the basic set, you learn the rules, then you go to buy the player's handbook, you have to relearn a lot of the core rules. So what we're doing is taking a lot of those elements that made D&D each edition great and combining them into one game. And building that game, one of the other things I think we're doing that's kind of something we learned the hard way, is we're building the game knowing we're going to expand it. So in the sense of we're making sure our systems are extensible, that if we add new stuff, we're not breaking it. If we want to do like a horror take on D&D, like a Ravenloft, we're already kind of accounting for that stuff now in the design to make sure we have that flexibility. So it's taking all those lessons we've learned from the prior editions, bringing them all into one game, and then thinking of, hey, we want this game to last 10 years. In 10 years of the life of an edition, what do people want to do with it? They want to try different genres, different types of campaigns, different settings. So build a game that's very extensible, that we have a nice, solid, simple core that we can build out from. And either DMs can add options for their campaigns. They want to add firearms. They want to go into a genre. I mean, we've made rules decisions, though we were not doing this in D&D, but thinking, hey, if this is a modern day game, how would this work? Or how would we want to be able to modify this rule or add some element to it so you could adopt a different time period or different genre? So I think that's really the thing we're doing, is we're taking all those things, instead of having to pick or choose or feel like, well, I'm picking one edition, so I'm gaining this and losing that, it's all upside. And it's all built to last for a long time. And I think really at the end of the day, the biggest thing we're doing, we could say like what's kind of like the main thrust of it, is to take the accessibility of D&D's earliest days and combine it with those options for when you get into the game. And you want to pick like feats or multi-classing and building a really unique, weird character. We can do that all in one game. You don't have to pick to play a basic D&D or play 3rd edition or whatever it is. You find it all in one game. So if you're playing at a table, and I've seen this happen in playtests, where someone can play a very simple fighter who has like no special abilities beyond just bonuses to attacks and more likely critical hits. That player can sit down at the table with someone who's made some crazy multi-class and feat combination, like this really weird, unique character, and they're both playing the same game. And I think that's the biggest step forward we made, is to really bring those different play styles together at the table.
One of my favorite things about because we've been playing Next.
Yeah, we've been playing Next for about a year, like since the very first like alpha playtests went out.
Yeah, and one of my favorite things about it, and I know that that this is not necessarily for everyone, but I really like not having to use a battle map. I talked about this a lot as one of my favorite things, because battle maps are cool, especially if you are into that thing, as many people who play D&D are, about getting the very decisive strategies of I have to be here and you have to be there and we have to do it like this. But for the game that we've been doing, I just really like being able to be like, I'm gonna hit the closest guy. And you gotta have a good DM, and thankfully Jer is. But having him be, going like, okay, or Kathleen's like, I'm gonna use Burning Hands, and Jer's like, all right, I'm gonna say you hit 3 of them. It's just so much nicer than being like, okay, if I take a 5-foot step, and then I can hit this kind of angle, and then I can hit, it makes things go more smoothly. I've really enjoyed it.
I think it makes you pay a little more attention to visualize the basics in your head.
The theater of the mind.
Exactly, and it really moves the combat along a lot faster as well, so you can, get more combat and more story and just more of everything.
Well, and I've noticed, like in Rodney's campaign, it'll vary. Like right now, where we're not playing with miniatures, like I don't know if you guys can see the table. He just has a map out of the region of the world we're exploring. But there have been sessions where we've come and we've been in a dungeon and it's been very tactical, and he's had his 3D dungeon train set up. So we know, okay, this session is going to be a big battle. It's going to be a dungeon crawl. It's like, we had a running battle with some wraiths and things like that, where for that session, for that battle, that's how Rodney as a DM wanted to play it. And Rodney, do you want to talk anything about that? Or?
Yeah, basically what I tend to do is I tend to tailor whether or not we're going to use miniatures in a battle mat to the kind of session that I want to run. So if I want something that's faster paced and I want to get through, a lot more of the exploration of the story, a lot of times I won't use minis. Like today, basically, there have been a couple of opportunities for there to be fights, and I haven't broken out the battle mat at all.
Is it kind of a fight if a dozen elves just shoot your ranger with arrows leaving for dead?
Yeah, sure. We rolled initiative.
He rolled initiative.
I rolled initiative. He rolled initiative, right. But right before you guys called in, they had just entered this massive elven ziggurat that they found deep within the Ruwood, and basically they're now entering a dungeon crawl, and we'll see how far we get tonight, but I was already thinking about our next session, maybe building out the interior of the ziggurat with my terrain, or using just a battle mat or something like that. So next time, since it's going to be a little bit more dungeon crawly, I might do that, or I might not. I mean, I've run a couple of dungeon crawls so far without a battle mat. Yeah. Although when we do a dungeon crawl without a battle mat, I have to rely on the amazing artistic mapping skills of Chris Tulloch.
What?
Who is our...
I was mapping the dungeon. I ran out of paper that one.
We've actually had a huge amount of success with an iPad and a multi-layer graphics program.
I've been drawing a map as we go.
Which is great because they can superimpose levels of the temple on top of each other to figure out exactly where they are. It's pretty sweet. Yeah,
I've been using Adobe Ideas. And
I have 2 more questions for you guys, and the first one is, Rodney, I see a familiar friend in the background. He is made out of mostly air. Can you show him to our chat?
Can we cut to that? What?
Oh, he's still alive! Oh, yay!
Wow.
Our pet dragon.
He made it through.
Mrs. Bojangles.
Yes, Mrs. Bojangles. Mrs. Bojangles has found a permanent residence here in the game room.
You rested her back.
Yes.
And she's still looking like she's in pretty good shape, too.
You know, not bad. Starting to deflate a little bit.
She's getting most of her structural integrity.
I wouldn't be surprised if she makes a return.
Mrs. Bojangles is loyal to you.
Sorry.
For now. For now.
I just wanted to mention, because you mentioned that the Lords of Waterdeep for iOS is coming out very soon, and obviously this is not something you would be able to actually comment on, so just consider this merely a request. I think it's awesome that you guys are doing games on iPad and stuff. I would like utilities for iOS, like an iOS character sheet or an iOS mapping program. Tell the people in your departments who are in charge of these things to please do this thing. I know, I'm being that guy and I don't care how often
I love you for it.
How often do I get to talk to you?
You can call me anytime.
All right, I have ideas.
We have one more question. That's a very important question.
Oh yes.
You'll need that book graph.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, I have one before that.
Okay.
Combined total, how many ukuleles do you 5 own?
How many what?
Ukuleles.
Do we what?
Do you own? Do any of you own any ukuleles?
I'm sad to say 0.
I have a guitar.
It's a really big one.
No, my girlfriend has one.
Now I kind of want one. Now I have ukulele ownership. Now you've mentioned it.
Wait, your girlfriend has a ukulele?
Yeah, she does.
Is she from Canada?
No,
Do you know her?
Yes, you know my girlfriend.
Oh.
Canadians exist.
Yeah, many of us have Canadian girlfriends.
Yeah.
Wait.
So we have someone who is donating to us this year $7 for every superhero we collect, which is to say we would like to get from you, from all of you as a group or each of you, a superhero. It doesn't have to necessarily be a hero you would be, but just one that you are creating, and we need a name and a power.
So I have, let's see, Americanman, and his ability is to never understand the metric system.
All right. Easy peasy.
That's useful.
Americanman. Not to be confused with Captain America.
Exactly.
Oh my god, put me on the spot.
So, Mr. Moneybags and his magic power is running around with a big sack of gold coins and just hitting people over the head with it.
Can he use the money in the money bag, or is it
So this was built. This was an old character built off of GURPS, where we only had 25 points or something to build a character, so someone put it all into wealth and used it for his weapon.
Why didn't
Wow.
you buy a weapon?
That's awesome.
Dan's got a good one. I know it.
I got Roy G. Biv, an alien from a distant galaxy who fires his rainbow gun for justice.
I like it.
I get it!
Spelled like Roy G. Biv.
Yes.
Nice.
You know, there was a nemesis of the Flash called the Rainbow Raider, who had rainbow powers, whose real name was Roy G. Bivolo.
Oh, okay. Well, so yeah.
Terrible. Like, his secret identity, the Rainbow Raider's secret identity is this really obvious name.
But yours is really great, Dan.
He's an alien.
Thank you.
He's an alien who fires a rainbow. I have to write it all down, and I'm still catching up.
Rainbow gun.
Right.
Someone else think of one now.
Yeah, I'll go. The Hubtroller. His superpower is to go in and cause miniaturized internet implosions wherever he travels online.
I like it.
I think we have one of those here.
Yeah.
Actually, internets here have been pretty solid.
Why do you say
So
these things?
far. Except the time that Shaw completely broke them.
Except for that.
Yeah,
Except for that one time
terrible
when it was
thing.
terrible. And that other time.
We said except. It's okay.
All right.
Rodney, do you have one?
I can't come up with a funny one on the fly, but I will tell you a funny story about Mutants and Masterminds character I played once.
All right.
He was supposed to have power to control darkness, and I named him Blackout. But then everybody decided that his power was actually narcolepsy.
So he thinks he's.
So he just thinks he's causing blackouts.
Sad. And like everybody else knows, but they don't tell him. So they're like,
Oh no.
"Good job, champ. You really got him." I lost it. Tulak, do you have one?
I don't know. That's tough.
Come
Let's see.
on.
All right, fine. Let's the Commuter. His superpower is that he knows all the bus schedules for whatever city he's in.
Ah.
Very useful.
Yeah.
He would
that's
actually get along really well with James's superhero.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
James, what was James's superhero
The
called? again?
Highwayman.
The Highwayman. He has an Iceman-like ability to create overpasses.
Oh nice. Yeah, that works.
From wherever he is to wherever he's going.
Yes.
Just
So the mental picture being like he creates the road, and then these gigantic cement supports periodically pound down into the ground underneath it.
Destroying all underneath. It's actually super effective.
By the end of something like the Avengers, you end up with like skyways everywhere and just tons of demolished buildings.
I
Is
do
it-
have one more, and that would be Exact Change Man. So his secret power is he has exact change whenever he needs it. So if he needs 69 cents, he just reaches in his pocket and puts out 69 cents.
Oh,
Nice.
I use that power.
That
Both of
would
yours
be the
will-
one that I would have him.
Both of yours involve money. Why can't Mr. Moneybags have like exact change boy?
He just
Exact change boy.
Oh, you broke Tulak.
Exact change boy.
It doesn't really fly very well because it's made of pure gold.
Is Tulak still laughing? Is he not on camera? I did the
Yeah,
same.
I'm not a camera.
Oh.
Oh, that's me. You know what I look like.
I do.
Unfortunately.
Hey,
There we
there's
go.
Thompson.
Yeah.
That was very exciting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much for calling in.
6 brand new heroes right there.
That's right.
Woo.
Boom.
Yeah.
That's what the D&D team brings. It's all sorts of heroes. Cam, did you have something you want to say?
Oh, I just had a question, but I think we're wrapping up.
Oh, go for it.
Go for it.
Okay. Well, I mean, you mentioned that you're playing in the realms right now.
Oh, I'm playing Greyhawk. Sorry.
Oh, Greyhawk. Okay, right. So just as like the nth generation inheritors as designers of these worlds, do you ever kind of wish you could just do like an Infinite Crisis? Because you'll be like, oh, I've got this great idea for a new campaign book. Oh, right, Drizzt exists. So, that's already been handled.
So this campaign actually, it's a Greyhawk campaign, but I'm running what I call the Gospel According to Gygax, which is, I basically said that the only things that are true are things that were written by Gary Gygax directly. Yeah, right here. I've got the original World of Greyhawk folio that I use as my DM supplement over here on the side.
Wow.
So basically, the only things that are true, that are definitely true, are things that were written by Gary. And it's even set in 576, and so I kind of did Crisis on Infinite Earths it a little bit in that I rebooted back to the very beginning, although I do occasionally pull in things from later supplements.
Okay.
But I really wanted to run this campaign as close to what people would have thought of Greyhawk back in 79 or 81, I think is when this came out.
That's 81.
Yeah.
1980. So basically, I wanted to run the campaign as close to what was true in 1980 as possible, and so that's where we started, and we've gone from there.
Nice. So it's sort of like Lucas canon for Greyhawk.
Yeah.
Love it. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Sweet. Okay, well, well, thank you guys so much for calling in and supporting us. And Graham, did you have something else you wanted to say? It looked like you were like mid-sentence.
No.
And I was in mid-sentence.
How embarrassing.
Yeah, both of us together inside the same sentence. Thank you so much for. I'm sorry. Thank you so much for calling in and supporting us and chatting with us for a little bit. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you again and hearing from you again soon. Yeah, thanks so much.
Now go kill all the monsters.
Now go kill those monsters or elves or whatever it is you've decided to kill today.
Elves. We're fighting elves for some reason.
Yeah.
Hate the elves. Aww.
Elves are evil.
Sticking with pointy things.
Hate the elves. Pretend they're religions.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for joining us.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Good luck.
Oh my goodness.
That was delightful.
Yes, it was.
I think it's time for me to go home.